Colonel Potter, sir. Corporal Klinger. I'm Section 8, head to toe. I'm wearing a Warner bra. I play with dolls. My last wish is to be buried in my mother's wedding gown.
When the world first tuned into MASH, they laughed, they cried, and they fell in love with a ragtag group of doctors struggling to save lives amid the chaos of the Korean War. But behind the laughter and clever pranks, behind the camaraderie and heroic rescues, not everything was as harmonious as it seemed. Some of the show's most beloved actors, those who had become household names, made the shocking decision to walk away from a series that had guaranteed them fame, fortune, and a place in television history. Why would they leave at the peak of success? Today, we uncover the real reasons these stars left MASH, the personal struggles, professional frustrations, and life-altering choices that shaped both their careers and the show itself. MASH, which premiered in 1972, was more than just a television show. Set against the backdrop of the Korean War, it followed the lives of the doctors, nurses, and support staff at the 4077th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. At its heart was Captain Benjamin Hawkeye Pierce, portrayed by Alan Alda, a brilliant surgeon whose sharp humor often masked the toll of war. Alongside him were Captain Trapper John McIntyre, Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, Major Frank Burns, Corporal Radar O'Reilly, and Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake, later replaced by Colonel Sherman Potter. The show's genius lay in its delicate balance of comedy and drama. One moment, you'd be laughing at a perfectly executed prank. The next, tears welled up as the brutal realities of war hit home. Audiences didn't just watch MASH, they lived it. And yet, the success behind the camera often came at a cost. Edgar McLean Stevenson Jr., professionally known as McLean Stevenson, brought warmth, charm, and humanity to the role of Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake. Born in 1927 in Normal, Illinois, Stevenson came from a family steeped in medicine and politics. His father, a cardiologist, his cousin Adlai Stevenson II, a two-time presidential candidate. But McLean chose his own path, discovering a passion for theater at Northwestern University. By the time he joined MASH in 1972, Stevenson had already navigated a fascinating, unconventional career, from hosting radio shows in Dallas to writing for The Tonight Show. On MASH, his portrayal of Henry Blake, the lovable, easygoing, sometimes bumbling commanding officer, captured hearts instantly. Audiences adored his warmth, his humor, and the humanity he brought to a world overshadowed by war. But after 3 seasons, Stevenson made a decision that shocked fans. He left the show. He felt underutilized, overshadowed by Hawkeye and Margaret Houlihan, and yearned for a leading role that would allow him to fully showcase his talents. The writers gave the world a moment that would be etched in television history. In the final episode of Season 3, Henry Blake's plane was shot down. Audiences were stunned. It was one of the first times a network TV show had confronted the fatal consequences of war so unflinchingly. Heartbreaking, unforgettable, and profoundly emotional. It forever changed the tone of MASH. After leaving, Stevenson tried to capture lightning twice more, with The McLean Stevenson Show and Hello, Larry. Neither reached the heights of MASH. Reflecting years later, he admitted that viewers weren't enamored with McLean Stevenson. They loved Henry Blake. Stevenson passed away in 1996, but his portrayal of Blake remains one of television's most cherished characters. Proof that sometimes a role can outshine the actor behind it. William Wayne McMillan Rogers III, better known as Wayne Rogers, gave life to Captain Trapper John McIntyre with wit, charm, and an unwavering moral compass. Raised in Birmingham, Alabama, Rogers studied history at Princeton University, served as a Navy navigator, and honed his acting under Sanford Meisner at the Neighborhood Playhouse in New York. These experiences forged a man capable of discipline, Poise and creativity, the perfect foundation for Trapper John. But as MASH soared, Rogers grew restless. Trapper John, once a central figure, was increasingly overshadowed by Hawkeye. Rogers wanted deeper storylines, more character complexity, and equal footing with Alda. By 1975, after the third season, he walked away. Fans were disappointed, but Rogers' choice highlighted an enduring truth. Even in the glow of fame, creative fulfillment cannot be ignored. After MASH, Rogers continued acting, appearing in shows like House Calls and TV movies including Ghosts of Mississippi. Yet his talents extended beyond acting. He became a respected financial expert, earning the nickname The Wizard for his investment acumen. When he passed away in 2015, Rogers left behind a dual legacy: artistic integrity and versatile achievement, proof that leaving the spotlight doesn't mean leaving purpose. Larry Linville's Major Frank Burns was a study in contradictions. Hated and loved in equal measure, his bumbling, paranoid persona added tension and humor to MASH. Born in Sacramento in 1939, Linville initially pursued aeronautical engineering before discovering his true calling in the performing arts. A scholarship to London's Royal Academy of Dramatic Art gave him classical training that would define his career. Despite his character's popularity, Linville felt trapped. Frank Burns had become one-dimensional, mainly a source of comic relief. Linville longed for more challenging roles, for opportunities that would allow him to grow as an actor. So in 1977, he made the bold decision to leave. While he never regained the same level of fame, Linville continued acting in TV staples like The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Murder, She Wrote, prioritizing craft over comfort. He passed away in 2000, leaving behind the enduring memory of a character who was as infuriating as he was unforgettable. Finally, Corporal Walter Radar O'Reilly, portrayed by Gary Berghoff, captured hearts as the innocent, intuitive company clerk. Born in 1943 in Bristol, Connecticut, Berghoff overcame a club foot and deformed fingers to pursue the performing arts. He studied jazz drumming and tap dance and found early acclaim as Charlie Brown on Broadway. Berghoff was the only actor invited to reprise his role from the original MASH film, and Radar became a fan favorite. Yet, the grueling shooting schedule strained his personal life, particularly his marriage. By 1979, after season 7, Berghoff chose to leave, prioritizing his daughter and family over fame. His farewell was handled with care. Radar returned home to run the family farm, a story arc as heartwarming as it was satisfying. Post-MASH, Berghoff never found another role with the same impact. Instead, he turned to wildlife art, music, and advocacy, showing the world that fulfillment is not always measured in awards or applause, but in purpose and balance. The departures of Stevenson, Rogers, Linville, and Berghoff left MASH forever changed. New characters arrived, storylines shifted, and the dynamic of the 4077th evolved. Yet their choices were deeply personal, reflecting the courage to prioritize creative freedom, artistic growth, and family over the comfort of fame. Each exit reminded audiences of the humanity behind the actors, the struggles, ambitions, and sacrifices that shaped their lives on and off screen. Their stories resonate far beyond the TV screen, offering lessons in integrity, courage, and the pursuit of fulfillment. MASH remains a cultural landmark, masterfully weaving laughter with tragedy, humor with heartache. But behind every beloved character was a real person making difficult, sometimes heartbreaking choices. The next time you watch Hawkeye, Trapper, Frank, or Radar, remember the untold stories, the challenges, the decisions, the courage that brought them to life. And sometimes, away from the show we all loved.